Baltimore, the charmed city. A city of neighborhoods with 66 National Register Historic Districts and 33 local historic districts. I've lived a bit south of Baltimore for almost 20 years, but rarely ventured into the city except for specific events. But that's all about to change. Nearly one-third of the city's buildings are designated as historic in the National Register, more than any other U.S. city. Founded in 1729, there's so much history and culture in the Mid-Atlantic's second-largest port city that to ignore this and not experience it and share those adventures would be a great opportunity lost. Follow along as we explore the historical and cultural gems of the city and get to know those neighborhoods that have bonded together to make this city what it is. A colorful mix of beauty, quirkiness, and blue-collar personality that makes it unique among U.S. cities. Come see where we're going today. Port Convington was a railroad terminal in Baltimore, Maryland, situated on the middle branch of the Patapsco River. It was built by the Western Maryland Railway and opened in 1904. The terminal facilities included coal, grain, and merchandise piers, overhead cranes, 11 rail yards, warehouses, a roundhouse, a turntable, and a machine shop. Sharing the South Baltimore Peninsula with Locust Point and Fort McHenry, the port was for many years the Western Maryland Railway's junction with the world. The first notable use of the land did not come until 1813 when a fort was built there to provide support for Fort McHenry during the War of 1812, when the city's officials sensed Baltimore's vulnerability to a British attack. The new fort, sometimes called the Patapsco Battery or Fort Wadsworth, held a magazine, troop barracks, and a guardhouse. After Brigadier General Leonard Covington was mortally wounded at the Battle of Chrysler's Field in November of 1813, the fort was renamed Fort Convington to honor the fallen Maryland native. The area was then dubbed Port Convington as it moved to a more commercial and industrial purpose later on. Port operations ended in the 1970s and the site was abandoned in 1988. Plans are currently underway to redevelop the Port Convington area in support of the Under Armour headquarters that is there. A development group owned by Under Armour CEO Kevin Plank has designed a campus-style environment around the headquarters that will include many amenities like parks, entertainment areas, dining establishments, and other facilities like the one we're going to visit today, the Sagamore Spirit Distillery and the Rye Street Tavern. Maryland was home to 44 distilleries before Prohibition, including at least 13 in Baltimore. They were converted to ethanol plants during World War II, and a few resumed making whiskey when the war ended. This story is told on the tour of the distillery that will take guests on an hour-long walk through the whiskey-making process, starting in the Visitor Center, which features a history wall that tells the story of distilling in Maryland. The distillery is open daily for tours and tastings of the Sagamore rye whiskey, and it is open generally from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and until 8 p.m. on the weekends. Tickets are $15 for adults and $8 for children, with a discounted ticket costing $10 for military personnel. The companion to the distillery is the Rye Street Tavern, located adjacent to the Sagamore. It offers indoor and outdoor dining with views of the Patapsco River, a bar area with a stage for live entertainment, and it overlooks the Sagamore Spirit Distillery. That's where we'll start our adventure today with some brunch before starting the distillery tour. Come along with us. Alright, here we are. We are at the facilities for the Sagamore Distillery and the Rye Street Tavern. The follow me does not like following me when I'm spinning, so we just learned that about our Osmo. So it's a very industrial neighborhood, kind of difficult to get to. The roads are kind of, our Uber driver, by the way, if you're coming to the distillery and doing the tour, you're probably going to drink some whiskey. You should be responsible. Have a designated driver. Take an Uber. We took an Uber. The Uber driver had trouble finding the place, but it's the first step in the reconstruction of this area. So but it's lovely. The grounds are nice, and so we're gonna go have our brunch, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and then we will go and start our tour. So the tour starts at noon, but we have to be there 11:15 to check in. So that's what we're doing. We'll see you shortly.
Strawberry Smash, which is Sagamore Spirit Rye, strawberry cordial, and they did say they make that here, so the cordial, of course, does have some alcohol content to it as well. And then basil, this is my basil, and lemon juice. Yeah.
All right.
Are you ready for me to sample it?
Yes.
Ooh, really tart.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Takes one to know one. Yeah.
Huevos rancheros, really good.
Thank you, my dear. So I got what did I get? I got a breakfast sandwich with eggs and a homemade sausage and cheese, and some breakfast potatoes with I think it's a spicy aioli sauce and a grilled tomato and a couple of honey baked biscuits. So we're gonna give this a try here, and we have to eat quick because we have the tour starting in just a couple of minutes. I have to say those breakfast potatoes are probably the best I've ever had in my entire life. The sauce they have on there, delicious. The outside is super crispy, the inside is just melt in your mouth. I cannot say enough how good they are. Oh my god, the biscuits are delicious too, these honey biscuits. Don't think I've ever tried anything like them before. I'm a biscuit eater, I love biscuits. I don't think I've ever tasted anything quite like them. So far, this is one of the best meals I've had in Baltimore, I'll be honest. So I'm really, really thrilled with, and the service is good, the atmosphere is good. Really think this is a great place to come now. It's not crowded. I don't know how this place would be when it's super busy as far as service and all that goes. But with just us here, the food is wonderful, service is great. I highly recommend coming here. If you have an event or something like that, it'd probably be a fabulous place for that. All right, brunch is done. It was fabulous. And we are on our way over right next door to the distillery.
Here we go.
Yep. So that's the South Branch of the Patapsco right there. And if you see in the distance, I don't know if you can see it, the Key Bridge way down there. And we're going in.
Yes.
Yep, awesome. So pretty much to start the tour, we just like to answer why rye. Well, in the 1700s, Maryland tobacco farmers actually used rye as a cover crop. Help that soil regain its nutrients when tobacco is not growing. Now, instead of towing this rye to the ground, those farmers realized they could make an extra profit by harvesting that rye and distilling a rye whiskey. So that's actually when the whiskey industry here in Maryland first began. It's actually considered to be the original American whiskey. I know a lot of people do think bourbon is. They are completely wrong. It is rye. Anyway, Maryland does have a very rich history of it. Before Prohibition, we were home to 44 distilleries. 21 of those distilleries were just in the Baltimore area alone. Now, even during Prohibition, those distilleries continued to operate, produce rye whiskey. Simply because Maryland was the only state that ratified the 18th Amendment, but actually not enforce any Prohibition laws. That being said, all those distilleries shut their books entirely, did not record any of their financials, and just kept on producing. Now, after Prohibition had ended by the year 1939, Baltimore City alone actually held 1/3 of the nation's supply of rye whiskey. Quite a bit of whiskey right here in this small little city, pretty awesome time. However, did all change just a couple years later when we entered World War II. Now, into the war, all those distilleries converted to ethanol fuel plants, helped fuel for the war for planes, trains, tanks, automobiles, pretty much every single vehicle used. Now, unfortunately, after the war had ended, those ethanol fuel plants did not come back to rye whiskey distilleries. The majority of them shut their doors entirely, while some did remain open and continued on producing ethanol fuel. Also, by that time, soldiers came home more accustomed to clear spirits such as vodka, and that's when beer started to get really, really big on the home front. So pretty much just like that, rye whiskey here in Maryland, as well as the entire nation, just completely vanished. Now, fast forward to today, that's why we're here. We at Sagamore Spirit are determined to put Maryland back on the map as that premier rye whiskey distillery and bring back all that rich history we once had. So, you guys ready to figure out how we do it all?
Yes.
Alright, so the vision for Sagamore Spirit actually began all the way up here at Sagamore Farm, a 530-acre thoroughbred racehorse farm just 22 miles north of downtown Baltimore. Now, the farm actually does have a very robust history. It's owned by the Vanderbilts. They race some of the most dominant horses ever. Now, one of those horses was named a Dancer. He won 21 of his 22 races and graced the cover of Time magazine, both in 1952 and 1954. This building right here is where we start that entire process. We are considered a straight American rye whiskey. Now, in order for us to consider that, our mash bill or recipe must contain at least 51% rye. So right up here, we have two different mash bills. We have a high rye and a mid rye. That high rye is going to be 95% rye, 5% malted barley. That mid rye is 52% rye, 43% corn, 5% malted barley. So we're actually going to ferment, distill, and age both of these two subjects from each other. Then after 4 years of aging, bring those barrels right back to processing, dump those barrels out, and then use a proprietary aeration to blend the two together. Welcome to the second level of our fermentation distillation building. This is where all that magic happens. You guys see that tank all the way in the back that's covered? Kind of looks like a crock pot. That is our mash cooker. Those drains that you talked about downstairs, middle of that down to a fine powder, throw them in there, add some water. It's going to cook for about 6 hours. During that, all those starches will convert to sugar. Once we have that, we're then going to move that mash to one of these 9 fermentation tanks here. As that's happening, we're also adding yeast to it to help start the entire alcohol process. Alright, as you guys can tell, this is an empty tank. Essentially, every single fermentation tank does look like this. Each one is 6,500 gallons. That beer well is a little bit bigger than the 8,000. Okay, so this tank right here is about a day-2 tank. As you guys can tell, it's pretty active and pretty local. That is because that yeast is starting to convert all that sugar into alcohol. This is what's also producing a lot of that CO2. Luckily for us, it's right here, it's back here. The sun's out summer. Some still doesn't use the animal for most parts of the operation. But again, it's something out. Also, for your hand right down here, you guys see those slightly.
Oh.
So it's just going to be what's happening? So if you look at around 85 to like 86 degrees, I believe these start drying up about 90, 91. Now also, like I said, put your hand down here again, that is a natural heat from the fermentation process. But now, one of my favorite ways to tell what kind of day tank this is, other than just looking at it, you guys are more than welcome to taste it for yourselves. So, honey takers? Anybody? I'll do it. Yep, just use your finger.
No?
Kind of like oatmeal.
Exactly. So,
It looks like a big vat of oatmeal.
I would say you guys are missing out.
I like it. Look at this. Yeah, I like that.
So this does taste very, very sweet. kind of like a cereal or an oatmeal way. As I said, a Day 2 tank pretty much is reacting and has not converted all that sugar to alcohol just yet. Give this tank another day, day and a half. It's not going to be active or bubbly at all. Start to develop a kind of crust on top. Literally looks like a giant loaf of bread. Now at that point, that is because that yeast has converted all that sugar to alcohol. Alright, so we take that distillery beer, pump it into the top of the column still. Slowly snakes its way down. As that's happening, steam from the bottom up is being produced. When that steam meets that distillery beer, it's going to vaporize all the alcohol in it and send it right on back to the top of the still. Those remaining grains in sludge do fall to the bottom. We actually pay a local dairy farmer to pick it up and feed it to his cattle. So it recycles all that waste, makes it happy plus cows, pretty awesome. So again, vapors go to the top of the still, you guys do this condenser. That condenser is going to cool it down back to a liquid state into low wine at 125 proof. It's going to leave low wine to this first copper doubler, vaporize, get rid of excess water, other impurities aside, back to a second condenser into high wine at 130 proof. So I'm going to leave high wine into the second final copper doubler, back into a third condenser, into higher wine at 135 proof. So this right here, what you guys just smelled was at 135 proof, higher wine. It smells pretty good. If you took a sip of it, you'll be feeling pretty good too. So. Alright guys, so quick layout on this room. Here are those 3 spirit sinks. That low wine, higher wine. Above you, those copper tubes are those condensers. Below you are those 2 copper doublers. And then finally, this right here is our 40-foot pure finish copper drop still. The only one like it in North America. And her name is Penny. You're very, very proud of her. She does phenomenal. Like I said, feel free to take pictures or videos, whatever you're ready, you lay it on our feet. Alright, so again, after distillation is complete, you have white rye. Totally not a whiskey, all it is just grain alcohol.
Is that like moonshine?
Almost, except we do pay taxes on it, so
Okay.
not technically moonshine. So technically not a whiskey yet, just grain alcohol. In order for it to be a whiskey, it must be aged in a brand new charred American white oak barrel for a minimum of 2 years. Now we do age all of our whiskey 4 years, just because we do feel like that is our sweet spot throughout the entire aging process. Now, aging is extremely important. This is where you get roughly 60% of that overall taste profile, as well as that nice rich amber color right here. So what's going to happen is our coopers, down in Calvin Coopers in Kentucky, are actually going to run these barrels over an open flame to char the inside of it. Now charring is also important. It enhances different flavor compounds. For example, lighter chars are more of this kind of toasted vanilla flavors, while darker chars are more caramel and spice. We actually do use a medium to dark level char, pretty much just to emphasize that caramel and spice, while adding some sweetness to it. Welcome to our processing building. This is where we're going to fill barrels, dump barrels, and then bottle every single bottle of Sagamore Spirit. So you guys want to make your way right down here, and I'll show you guys how we make up these barrels. Just please stay by that one. So after this 4 years are up, like I said, those barrels make their way right back here. Simply roll that barrel to that porch platform. It's going to work just like an elevator, hoist that barrel up. Then you're going to take that drill, jolt that bung to it, flip it over. Now, when you flip that barrel over, a lot of whiskey's going to come out, as well as a lot of char and cork. So as you guys can tell, there is a fine mesh panel, catches all that debris, and that whiskey flows right through to the bottom. So another awesome thing about that is people do pick up our char and cork all the time to use it for like smokers and barbecuing and so on. So it kind of adds that nice little kind of rye whiskey spiciness. Right behind me is our bottling line. Like I said, every single bottle does make its way right out of here. Those 6 needles work just like a gas pump. Dispense 750 milliliters of whiskey, automatically shut off. So it can be out with the cork, temporary seal to it, and then flipped upside down, held to the light. Make sure there's no char, cork, and debris that floats up to the top. If it's good to go, he'll place that bottle right in that line, send it right on down to that crazy contraption down there. All that is just an industrial heater. Heats up that seal, shows it wasn't tampered with throughout the entire production phase. Now, once it makes its way out of there, another person's going to inspect that bottle himself, just in case he finds anything floating in that whiskey. The seal passes, he'll place it right back on that line, send it right on down to this labeling station. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed we do have a 6-sided bottle. Therefore, it's impossible for us to mass label it. With that being said, every single bottle must be labeled as. So simply that front label supplied, he's going to flip it over, add that back label to it. Again, he's going to inspect that bottle before he moves on to the next one. Alright guys, we're trying out 4 different spirits today, as well as a paired whiskey truffle. Yeah. From left to right on that flight tray is our signature rye whiskey. In the middle is our double oak. To the right, paired with that truffle, is our cask strength. Then finally on the inside horseshoe is our limited time offer cognac finish. So I was going over 3 short simple steps, 1 tasting on whiskey. I'm not going to give you guys a full entire 30 some odd step spiel. Usually takes too long, does result in swimming to a bucket, it's a little too much. So 3 short simple steps, going to be see, smell, sip. So start right to the left of that flight tray with that signature rye.
That's weird. I didn't know you
Yep,
like
actually, it's pretty cool how it works like that.
Oh wow, learning how to breathe.
Now, whenever you guys are ready, I do recommend taking a small sip, kind of acclimate your palate to it, then go for a second sip. But you're also more than welcome to shoot it back. This is also your guys' experience. So this signature rye is to be aged 4 years, just like every other whiskey. Taken out of those barrels and then proofed down using spring water from Sagamore Farm to 83. The aging, they still brought those barrels back to our aging barns, as well as they still used Sagamore Spirit water from the farm. So pretty much at least 60-70% of it is still here in Maryland. The other 30, because fermentation is only about 30%, 40% tasting per bottle. But if you guys are ready, move on to that middle spirit, that double oak.
I'm seeing.
So this double oak is going to be 96.6 proof. We are going up in
This
proof.
is moonshine.
So this is that 83, this is 83.
It is the blue and gold. So this one right here is my personal favorite spirit. It's pretty much everyone who works here's favorite spirit. To get this double oak, what we did, aged it 4 years, took it out of those barrels, and then placed it in a brand new toasted barrel for about 6 months to a year. Now that toasted barrel does have a wave-safe pattern to it to really increase the surface area around it, really bring out more of those kind of toasted, kind of sweeter flavors to it.
I like this one better.
It's a lot smoother.
It's so much smoother too.
It is very smooth compared to the first one, absolutely. So what did you guys think of that double oak?
It was good.
I liked it.
You liked it better than the first one?
I think I might have too. The power of suggestion with the coconut might have also swayed me.
Might take a little bit of coconut.
Is that this one or is that?
Yep, so if you guys are ready, we're going to move to this one next.
Oh, this
So
one?
save, yep, so save that last one on your flight tray for last. Like I said, we are going up in proof. If you guys tasted that cask and that cognac, that cask is really going to master taste buds. Not going to real good taste out of that cognac.
So this is a limited edition.
Yep.
How much is that bottle?
So this bottle will be $69.
That's it?
Yep.
I think prices like that go into the wine store that we go to.
What's the difference between the whiskey and the cognac?
No.
So with this one, so every single whiskey bar starts off as that cask strength. It just depends if we proof it down, like that very first beer, that signature, or if we throw it into a toasted barrel, like a double oak, or use cognac barrels.
Okay.
So we take that cask strength, it's aged 4 years, take it out of those barrels, and then place it and use cognac barrels for about 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
So those cognac barrels were actually 3-year aged Remy Martin barrels.
That's the cognac finish. That is
Yep,
how
it's a cognac finish, it's not like an actual cognac.
Okay. that's
So,
right.
so yes, I'm
Yep.
curious. How is this going to compare to these? Since I'm kind of on the wimpy side and I need to be mentally prepared.
So this one is going to be 101 proof. I personally think it is very smooth for how it is. It does not sip like a 101.
That is not
Oh, wow.
harsh for 100.
Exactly. So it is not harsh at all. So it does have a little bit of sweetness to it as well.
You can, I can smell caramel.
Caramel.
Oh yeah.
So this smell-wise, you pick up more kind of caramel. You might also get a little bit of pear, kind of apricot up in the nose as well.
Like a Remy is more bitter or has more bite on this.
It really does. Yep. So it's kind of crazy how just our whiskey in it really is kind of even it out and really subtle, kind of smooth. All right, if you guys are ready, move on to that final spirit on that flight tray, that cask strength. Now to pair it, I recommend taking a sip, then biting that whiskey truffle, then going in for a second sip.
Is there whiskey inside the truffle?
There is. There is
Chocolate.
5% alcohol per volume in it. So there's a little bit of our whiskey. So sip, bite,
So
sip.
which is this one? This is how?
So this is the cash strength. It is going to be 112.2 proof.
Jesus.
Oh, that's good too.
It's a big one.
It is, but don't be intimidated. This is actually very smooth for how it is.
Okay. Because I am a little intimidated.
So this cash strength, straight out of the barrel, we do not proof it down. We do not throw it in a secondary barrel. That is why it does have such a high proof. It can actually vary between 111 to 115, depending on the overall aging process and how those seasons
bit
are
harsh.
affected.
A little bit harsh.
It is. It's a little bit up there. This one, if
Bit
you guys
much for me.
taste it on its own, it is gonna be a little bit spicier. Definitely hits you more of this kind of black peppery, kind of cinnamon tasting.
Yeah,
notes.
very
the chocolate
spicy
helps.
that way.
Yep. Now, if you do pair with that chocolate takes a lot of that heat off. Adds more sweeter flavors, of course, such as like a butterscotch. Now, out of all 4 of those spirits, which ones did you guys like the best?
I think I like the cognac finish the best.
You like the cognac finish? You want the rest of mine?
That was, you like the that
That was a double oak.
That was your favorite
Do
too?
you guys care if I video
That's
you?
double oak's my favorite.
I love the.
Which was your favorite?
It's great.
I liked the cognac. The cognac finish.
Exactly. I feel like the cognac, I would just want to do that every once in a while. Double oak, I would.
Yeah, that was.
And the truffle was really good.
Absolutely.
Like the truffle?
The middle's a double.
Which one was the, which was the double oak?
No,
This
no,
one?
no. Yep.
I like that one a lot too, actually.
That's what I went with the
The
chocolate.
cash strength. I was saying chocolate might help a little bit too. Does take a lot of
If you
that
had that
heat off.
without chocolate, I think it would be a little too.
Yeah, hard. I think it was the best. It was like
The double
so
oak was very
smooth.
good.
So.
Yep.
Very
You're
smooth.
drinking the clear distilled, right?
Yep.
Super good.
I'm sorry.
Drinking the clear distilled. It's like, yeah.
I wish.
All right, hang on. So these are our tour mates. Did you guys have fun on the tour today?
We did.
Fantastic.
Yep.
We're Guy and Jen from Fountain Valley, California.
Well, hi.
Hi.
This is going on my YouTube channel. Do you mind?
No. I want the channel.
I got a card out for you.
Oh, I
So you
gotta send it to our
guys.
son. He'll laugh at us.
So yes, we had fun, and the alcohol was delicious.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're gonna- All right, we're done with the tour. Waiting outside for our Uber. It's a good thing we got an Uber because we got a little bit of a buzz going on from the tasting. But we had a really good time. Learned a lot of information. Did you have fun?
I did. I do not think I'm going to be a rye whiskey convert, but I am going to, I think I will try it in the Sagamore Mule or Maryland Mule with some ginger beer.
Well, the tour was very interesting. The distilling process, of course, from a scientific aspect is always interesting. The history is great. Met some nice new people. Had some fun.
It's a nice day.
Yeah, beautiful day. If you get a chance, you should come out and give it a try because I'll tell you what, the restaurant was fantastic and the liquor was not too bad either. All right, you guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.